Sis, if your days feel chaotic, it's not because you're lazy. It's because your priorities are fighting for space in your head as opposed to living on paper. That is why today I'm walking you through my exact daily planning habits that help me make money, stay focused, and make me feel like I still have peace in my life. So you're definitely going to want to get your pen, your Post-it, your ambition planner, and let's go. Hello, Ambition Babes. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion, also known as the face of ambition across all social media platforms, as well as wherever you stream your podcast. And today I'm about to break down my step-by-step process on how to plan your day as a full-time content creator, business owner, or aspiring side hustler. I'm going to tell you the exact systems that I use to protect my peace in my paper. If you're new to my channel, I help women who are 40 years and older who are on a reinvention journey, who know that they are ready to change, level up, and get serious about their self-care and wellness. But do not worry, honey, if you're not over the age of 40 and you've clicked on this channel, just consider me your bougie auntie who is wanting to put you onto game so that you don't have to struggle the way that I have. But before we get started, if I drop at least one gem during this episode, please make sure that you share it with your sister, your best friend, your mama, or your partner. Because honey, we were not meant to go on this journey alone. And everything I'm about to break down in this episode is completely doable by yourself, but I know that you know somebody else in your life who feels completely overwhelmed, whose tasks and dreams are bigger than the time that they have in a day. You want someone to tell you exactly what to do to put boundaries around your schedule, help you to level up as a content creator or influencer, all while staying spiritually and mentally grounded. That is why my very first habit is that I have planning non-negotiables. I don't wake up in the morning and think, what am I going to do today? I do not allow good vibes to decide what my priorities are. I am going to decide the type of day that I'm going to have tomorrow, tonight. And I have 3 planning anchors that I completely live by and that are non-negotiable. Number 1 is that Sundays are sacred. It is the time that I set aside to plan my week. I have an alarm set for just about everything that happens in my life, and one goes off on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. It's time for me to start winding down and plan for the week ahead. Around 6 p.m. on Sunday evening, most individuals are getting the Sunday saddies or the Monday blues, but I'm actually looking forward to a very productive week, and I start thinking on paper. The biggest mistake when planning your week is to try to keep it all in your mind. Baby, you were built for a lot of things, but it was not intended for you to keep long lists of details in your mind and in the order that it should occur. That is why you have got to learn to think on paper. Every single Sunday evening, I suggest that you get yourself a glass of wine, a mocktail, a cup of tea, get in a comfortable space, and pull out your planner. I love the Ambition Planner because it's broken down in multiple sections where I can look at my full calendar, my week, and every single day. My full calendar is amazing because I have a flat lay of exactly what I know I'm supposed to do every single day during the week. I know I have a standing meeting at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. I know that Mondays I create content every single Monday. I know that Wednesdays are CEO days. That's when I do all of my admin work and I return all my emails. I have identified days that I'm going to do all of my heavy editing. I also have identified days where I'm working on big intentional tasks. If you've ever watched any of my content or you've read the book Eat the Big Frog by Brian Tracy, you would know that I completely live by his methodology. The basic summary of the whole book is that you have got to learn how to eat your big frog at least once a day. I suggest that you put no more than 3 to-dos on your calendar every single day, and one of them should be your big frog. This is the big, ugly, nasty thing that you know that you have got to swallow, and therefore you might as well swallow it first. Getting that big, nasty task out of the way makes the rest of the day feel that much easier. One of the big tasks that I know I have to do every single week is batch my content. I was just watching this really good episode by Shay Nicole, and she was breaking down how important batching content is. If you are currently a content creator or an aspiring content creator, this is the cheat code to success. I have identified a full day where I batch all of my content. But what I can promise you is that absolutely nothing will get recorded on Monday if I do not plan for it the day before. I don't just turn on the camera and start yapping. I have a full calendar. I know what I want to talk about. I provide educational and inspirational content to women who are on a reinvention journey. I've also identified 3 content pillars that I operate in, which is productivity, self-care, and your glow-up journey. Inside of those 3 major pillars, I have topics and content that I can pull from to create content every single Sunday and Wednesday. Sometimes I'm heavy in my reinvention and glow-up journey content, while other times I'm into my wellness and self-care content. Today I'm talking about productivity, but because I know my content pillars, I understand my audience, and I plan for this the night before or even weeks in advance. I can sit in front of the camera and feel confident about every single thing that I'm going to talk about because I've researched it, I've read it, I've thought about it, and I've prayed about it before I presented it. But what I can promise you is that 100% of this would not happen without proper planning. And that's why I call Sunday sacred. It is a time that I set aside to plan and prioritize my week. What content am I creating for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Substack? How am I showing up with the ladies who are members of the AP Clique? What type of emails am I distributing this week? Are we having a sell on the Goals and Gratitude Journal? How long is free US shipping going to last? There are so many details and nuances to my business, and for me to believe that I can keep all of this in my mind is crazy. I think on paper. Now, what I will acknowledge is that most content creators, business owners, or even side hustlers don't have as many facets of business as I do. This list of areas where I show up is pretty extensive, but what I have created is that elusive balance. There is absolutely no way that I can operate in every single area of my business every single day. So on Sunday, I sit down and do a complete brain dump, which is something that I like to call my clarity catcher. The clarity catcher is broken into 4 areas. In the first section, I list all of the things that I need to do right now. These are traditionally things that will move the needle in my business financially. The second area is called to do next. I write all of the things that have a high priority but are not extremely important. Then you have the things that you need to do soon, which I try to make sure I identify the things that I need to at least accomplish this week and the things that I can do later. I try to make sure that I check off and complete something in my do later section before the end of the month. Taking all of the thoughts from my mind, running them through my hands and leaving them on a piece of paper quiets the internal noise inside of my head. I don't like that feeling of chaos and overwhelm, constantly feeling like I'm forgetting something or I'm going to miss out on an opportunity. So that is why number 1 of my 3 anchors is to think on paper and to write it down on Sunday. My second anchor is that every single night at 9 p.m. my alarm goes off because it's time for me to do my nighttime prep. This is a time that I take about 3 to 5 minutes to journal how my day's gone. I also check in with myself emotionally, and I do all of the prep work for the next day. If there are things on my to-do list that I was not able to get to, I move them over on my calendar. I identify the big frog that I'm going to need to swallow the next day, and I go ahead and get my mindset right. And I ensure that I'm doing something that next day that is going to help me to get closer to my goals. The success that you seek tomorrow starts the night before. It doesn't have to take 15 or 30 minutes to even plan it. Once you start getting into the routine of prepping for tomorrow today, it is something that you'll start looking forward to because you start to see how it changes everything for you the next morning. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel chaotic. You don't feel unsure, and you don't feel unprepared for what's coming next. Nothing feels better than somebody walking in your office asking if you can hop on a Zoom call and you saying no. Because when you look down at your calendar, you already have something scheduled for that time slot. Because you're starting to set boundaries around your time, you know exactly how you're supposed to allocate your time during the day, and you are excited about sticking to your schedule. I like to gamify my schedule, and at the end of the day, I'm able to check every single box. In gamifying my day, I also use the Pomodoro method in order to schedule the amount of time that is going to take me to complete a task. This is going to take you to do a time on it on how long it traditionally takes you to complete tasks. But if you like games and challenging yourself, I definitely encourage you to look up the Pomodoro method, try it out tomorrow, and see if it fits your style. Anchor number 3 is my morning reset. Every single morning, I review my goals, my task and to-do list, and I add anything to it that I thought of while I was sleeping or getting ready for the next day. Without fail, as I'm brushing my teeth, I think of something that I really want to be able to accomplish during that day. And that's okay. I've left space in my schedule to accommodate the things that pop into my head that I want to make sure that I get done. Or I simply add it to my clarity catcher. But because I'm thinking on paper, I have a dedicated space in order to write it down. While I'm getting dressed in the morning, I'm saying my affirmations and adjusting my schedule as needed. Because let me be absolutely clear. Some days you wake up and the night that you planned the day before is not the day that you're going to have. And you know it as soon as you wake up. Because our bodies operate on a 28-day cycle, every day is anew. Depending on what menstrual phase you're in, you could be exiting your follicular, entering your ovulation, and yesterday's mood is not today's. So make sure that you download my absolutely free cycle syncing calendar so that you can understand how to sync your cycle with your productivity. Because I'm not going to even sit here and pretend like every single day is hyperproductive. But because I cycle sync, I know exactly the type of day that I should have based on where I am in my menstruation. Cycle syncing is a complete game changer, sis. And if this is something that you're interested in learning more about, please make sure that you download my my absolutely free cycle syncing calendar in the description page below. Okay, so now let's get into some of these tips. Habit number 2 is that I plan to make money every single day. Now, I want to make sure that you hear my words very clearly. I plan to make money every day. That does not mean that dollars hit my account every day, but I work inside of my business on tasks that are going to make me money. Maybe it doesn't make me money today, but the money is coming. As a full-time content creator and business owner, there are certain things I know I'm going to have to produce in order to make money. In order to get recognized by brands, you have to make social content. Everything that I create on YouTube is absolutely free, but that means that I have to be able to engage with brands in order to create ads to keep my lights on. So I'm going to break down exactly how you can generate revenue or potential revenue inside of your business every single day. And that is going to be to create content buckets. I do not care if you're not a content creator, you still got to create content. The day I saw my dentist doing some TikTok dance, the day I realized that every single industry has got to show up on social media. Before I Google your business, I'm trying to figure out if you have a YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or X account. I'm looking you up on LinkedIn. Every single business has got to have a social footprint. And in order to start making money, you have got to identify the content buckets that make sense for your business. If you do hair, if you do nails, if you are a lawyer, if you're a therapist, an author, a singer, a tap dancer, a makeup artist, you're a dog walker, you take care of children, there is a content bucket that you need to fill every single day in order to start seeing revenue or potential revenue in your business. I mean, let's be honest. Do you even have a business if you don't have a social media page? So the very first step is to identify where your audience resides. You've already started looking at all the other girlies in your niche and where they're creating content. I'm not saying to walk in their footsteps and copy what they're doing, but what I am saying is that there may be something to the fact that they're showing up every single day on LinkedIn, that they're posting their hairstyles on Pinterest, that they're showing the amazing advances that children are making inside of their daycare. Yeah, maybe they're not able to show their faces, but those little voices saying their ABCs makes every parent say, I want my baby to be ready for kindergarten like those preschoolers are. Posting on social media does not guarantee that you're going to bring in revenue, but I can guarantee you that you won't bring in revenue if you don't. Does that make sense? So it's time to map out your goals. What is it that you want? How do you want individuals to experience you? What is it that you want them to see whenever they come to your social page? Like I explained to you earlier, I have 3 pillars of content that I operate under, and I don't deviate from those pillars when I create content. Even though I sell products, I'm an influencer, content creator, and consultant, everything that I create feels cohesive because I've mapped out a plan. I know we hate staying inside of boxes, and niche has become a dirty word, but if you want to call it boundaries, parameters, or the invisible red line, stay inside your space, create consistent content, show up for your audience, and make them know, like, and trust you. Now, I know that social media is extremely important, but there are so many other ways to make money inside of your business, from producing a podcast to Substack, hosting classes, producing courses, creating a funnel, producing sponsored or affiliate linked content, and the list can go on and on. So if you want a dedicated video on exactly how you can generate revenue within your small business, side hustle as a content creator or influencer, please let me know in the comment section below and I would be very happy to accommodate. Habit number 3 is that I don't touch every area of my business every single day. There's Clique.ish, there's the Goals and Gratitude Journal, there's me as a YouTube content creator, there's Dion the influencer, there's Dion the podcaster, the Substacker, there's Dion that creates UGC content, that consults individuals on their business growth and development, and then there's Dion the wife and the dog mom. And with so many hats, I cannot touch every single element of my business every single day. That is why planning and compartmentalizing my brand is extremely important. Inside of Clique.ish, I speak to those ladies every single day. They know that they're going to get a message from me every morning, greeting them to a brand new day, challenging them, celebrating their wins, and ensuring that they're setting intention for the day ahead. That is a part of my daily ritual and routine, and it is one of the best parts of being a member of Clique.ish. But because it's something that I have to do every single day in my business, I cannot then send out a message and then sit and wait for everyone to respond. Therefore, I have certain times allocated throughout my day to check responses, DMs, and time to curate a thoughtful comment back. If you've ever ordered an ambition planner or goals and gratitude journal from me, you know that I write a handwritten note to every single person that purchased my products. I also add little gifts. I spray the products with perfume, and they're just a little touches that mean something to me. But I have a certain time within my day every single week that I pack and send products. The same thing goes for content creation, shooting, drafting, editing, and uploading videos. I hope that you're starting to realize that no matter how much work you have to do, it can all be accomplished if you are hyper intentional about the day and the time in which you get it done. There is absolutely no one on the whole World Wide Web that can say that they schedule schedule a meeting with me on a Wednesday. If somebody comes to you and says, I met with Dion on Wednesday and she was so great and la la la, give her a little side eye and be like, that's a lie. Because I do not schedule meetings on Wednesdays. That is a time that I keep my phone on D&D the majority of the day. My calendar is blocked out and I am catching up on all of the business inside of the Ambition brand. If you are just starting out or you have a team of individuals that support you, you are the head. The decisions have to come through you. You have to finalize things. You have to conceptualize. You need time to think. And if you do not schedule this time, I promise you it will not happen. That is why I start every single Wednesday with my solo date. My solo date time is the time that I take myself to coffee, maybe to lunch. I may go get my toes done. I may wander through Sephora a little too long, spraying every new scent that they have, or I may just sit in the park. But for a few hours every single Wednesday, I take myself on a solo date because I have got to pour into myself so that I have something to pour into others. The rest of my day looks like meeting with my team, finalizing content, returning emails, hopefully signing some contracts, and being intentional about the content and the products that we're curating. My brand and being able to create content means so much to me. And it is a job that I take extremely seriously. I mentioned know, like, and trust in the beginning of this episode. And the know, like, and trust factor is huge whenever you are trying to convey a message to someone. When you're asking them to purchase your product or service, know, like, and trust is only built whenever you are present, when you are grounded, when you're authentic. When people feel as if you're their bestie, they know you, they want to support you, and they're rooting for your success. That is why you have got to make a habit, no matter what business industry you're in, of making sure that you stay aligned with your purpose and intention. God has placed purpose inside of each and every one of us, and it's so easy to get distracted and start chasing money, influence, likes, popularity, and opportunities. So if you don't take anything else away from the video today, make sure that you take time to recenter and focus on your why. Life can be overwhelming, but I prefer consistency over chaos. And planning is how I stay dedicated to my goals. You don't need the perfect planner. And trust me, when you're planning, you're going to make mistakes. But do your best to find a system that is going to hold you accountable to reaching your goals. Start with just one daily planning habit a week, and watch how it shifts your clarity, your income, and your energy. Sis, I love you, and I pray that you are well, and that you're doing something every single day to reach your most ambitious goals.